Welcome to Teen Up, a podcast that digs deeper into the thoughts of teenagers' mind about the wonders of the world.
If you're new here, I'm your host, Isabella.
And I'm Glenn. If you're not, welcome back.
Here is a quick disclaimer. We are two teenagers that are doing our best to research everything. However, we are not experts, so if we offend anyone or say something wrong, we want to apologize in advance. Please email us to tell us what was wrong. Thank you. This week, we are going to talk about values of the three cultures: Eastern Asian culture, European American culture, and African American culture. So, an individual's personal values are often considered as a representation of one's core beliefs and what an individual may perceive as right.
Before we start, we are going to talk about the Little Woman podcast.
The Little Woman podcast is a show designed by teenagers for teenagers. Hosts Summer, Hannah, and Jalen talk about a variety of topics with an intention of keeping the conversation honest and informal.
On their podcast, they talk with interesting guests about their life stories, goals, and advice, aiming to educate you on different careers and lifestyles, hopefully helping you make the decision on what you want your rest of your life to look like. If you are unsure how to get into a certain industry, dealing with setbacks and being successful, this is the podcast for you. Okay, so remember to check out the Little Woman podcast. Okay, Isabella, so let's talk about values.
Okay, so I'm gonna basically do a Western versus Eastern one. So the Western society, they tend to strive to find and prove the truth. But on the other hand, Eastern society accepts the truth as given and is more interested in finding the balance. So this is kind of like what Glenn mentioned in the first episode. Is that Western people tend to think more logically, and they're always asking questions to understand things and to seek the truth. But the Eastern society, we basically just, take in everything that others tell us. And we just accept that is the truth. Like how we study, what the teacher tells us, we just memorize it.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah.
See, I'm just accepting it.
Our Western teachers, they do not like this at all. They don't like the fact that we only memorize things instead of understanding the process of why this is correct and stuff like that. And we do tend to spend more time trying to find the balance of our soul, sort of like Buddhism. They do meditation to find the balance of their inner soul and stuff. While the Western people, they just take their time to do other stuff that is not based on their inner soul.
Right, like science.
Right. That is true. But I guess this has something to do with our religion. The Eastern religion is like Buddhism, and we have the beliefs in Confucianism, Hinduism, Islam, Taoism, and Zen. So, yeah. And these technically tell us to, find our inner self, accept whatever it is that life gives you.
Right. I feel like that is really in the Eastern culture.
What do you mean?
Like, accepting the truth.
Oh, yeah. And the Western beliefs are like Christianity, and believing in rationality instead of more emotional things. And right, they tend to think with logic and more scientifically than Eastern people do. I mean, it's not like I'm making Eastern people sound stupid, but that's not what I meant. It's just that we don't spend that much time on searching for things through logic. So, as I have said before, the Eastern culture, we're always looking towards the inside, the inner world of a human being, and that person's ability to control and develop its highest value and, self-development, like what Buddhism is all about. I don't know if Christianity actually does this too. Christian people just pray, right?
I don't really know much about Christianity, but I do know that they pray, so.
Okay, so I'm just gonna quote Confucius for a second here. the superior man understands what is right. The inferior man understands what will sell. So basically what it's telling here is that the teacher teaches the student and the student just does whatever the teacher says. And the Western, their main values are success and achievement. So they are always looking for money, faith, popularity, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So like Eastern culture is more searching for the inner self. They're always trying to get rid of the false self, we're like always trying to look for the true self, which I get is kind of confusing. Like, I don't know my inner self that well, but I guess like I don't meditate.
Right. I guess both the Eastern and the Western are looking for something, but this truth thing isn't the same, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So one of the main differences that I guess we can all see is that Eastern people believe in collectivism. They believe that duty toward all others is a very important matter. So meaning that when all of the people work together, we are stronger, and it is more important to work as a group than focusing on yourself. But the Western people believe in individualism. So I guess they are more independent and they don't really like working with others.
I think in the Eastern culture, people just say it's selfish, but it's just different beliefs, right?
Yeah.
And you can really see it in one movie, like this movie I really like. It's called The Farewell.
Mm-hmm.
I think I talked about it before, but I really like this movie. Like you can see this cultural clash in this movie, but it's not like out there. It doesn't just directly state that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very subtle, and it's something that you need to like see the interaction of the characters to really understand what like the clash of different cultures.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but The Farewell, very good movie.
Okay, maybe I'll watch it. Okay, yeah. So, like I could see a total difference. Like our teacher sometimes she likes to say like, are you a part of this class or not? It's important to be like a part of the team. Oh, she says that whenever we're late.
Oh, right.
Uh-huh.
She's like, you're in the collective world and stuff, and you're in the group life.
Don't be late and stuff, and think about your teammates and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think that is a very collectivist thought.
Yeah. I mean, if we're late, we're late. Just, I don't know. I'm just finding an excuse for myself to be late, I guess.
Ugh.
Okay. So we could see the difference between Western and Eastern cultures in like, not just like, cause we're going to be international students, right? It's going to be very obvious. Or like through internships to businesses that are, in another country. Like if we do internships in college, in companies, we're going to find this, difference very obvious. We're going to find this difference very obvious. Okay. So one thing is that Eastern and Western cultures have a different perception of power and power distance. So, like Japan.
Wait, what is power and power distance?
So it's like your relationship with your boss and your, coworkers. Okay, just let me give you an example. So, like, for example, in Japan, they have like a very hierarchical. Mm-hmm. So in Japanese companies, they have a very hierarchical structure. So basically is that, people of like lower status, they do whatever the boss says and they are very polite with each other. Yeah. But the Western culture, I guess, they don't do that. The Japanese culture is more than polite, I feel like. More humble. Towards their boss or their upper people, but the Western cultures are not like that. And one thing that, oh my god, this is so obvious. So like in Taiwan, for example, when we want something, we wouldn't say it straightforwardly. Like if we want a teacher to write a letter of recommendation for us, I would start off with giving them a cup of coffee and then like, slowly go towards into the topic of letters of recommendation. But
really, you're gonna do that?
And like, I'm just giving an example. Of course, I'm not gonna do that. I'm a very straightforward person. So no. But But like in the Western country, whatever they say is whatever they mean. So they have very explicit communication and they don't just give, nonverbal cues like the Eastern people do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is very obvious. And especially when you're talking to your boss and stuff. And you know how like in middle school, nobody really asks questions to the teachers?
Yeah, right. Totally.
Yeah, but like, I guess some teachers encourage students to ask questions, but some teachers don't. They would think like, are you questioning my authority? Or like, are you saying that I said something wrong and stuff like that? But in the Western culture, you know how they always seek the truth. So they are very encouraged to ask questions. Very different from Eastern culture. Like, I don't get it. I remember one of our teachers, I don't remember who, but like would just shut us off whenever someone wants to ask a question. Is my memory correct? Yeah, like I said before, Eastern countries, they put more emphasis on the importance of politeness, and we don't discuss things openly, especially things about sex and stuff. Like our teacher who teaches us about like our body and stuff, she wouldn't like straightforwardly say things,
Right, totally.
Yeah, so I guess that's basically that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a break now. After the break, we're gonna talk about the American culture.
Welcome back.
Okay, so I'm just gonna broadly talk about 10 points or 10 things to know about the US culture, but I guess like everybody kind of know this already, so I'm just gonna briefly go through it. Okay, so the first thing that Americans love to do is to think big. It means that Americans often prefer like large things, like huge trucks, SUVs, large burgers.
That is so true.
I know. And have you been to Costco in America?
Actually, no. But Costco in Taiwan, like, that is already like 50% American, I guess.
Yeah, but like the parking space, dude, it's so big. And like, cause I've never like been to a Costco that has like 2 floors, except for the ones in Taiwan. Like, it's always, like the ones I've been in America are, like flat out, like 1 floor and really big. And then like the parking space is huge as well. And each space is so big. Like you can never make a wrong turn.
I actually once like saw this video and it's about fast food. So it compared like McDonald's and KFC and I think Burger King. Like they compared the size of like fries, drinks in the US and in UK. And like the American drink is twice the size. Twice the size of UK's drink. And I think the package they sell is also bigger. Like if you have like fried chicken, in American it's like 8 pieces and 10 pieces, I think. And like in UK it's like 6 pieces. Like it's less. Like
their burgers as well. Oh my god. I used to go to this burger place called Teddy's Burger. I don't know if like the mainland has it. Well, anyways, it has like this regular burger size, and then you could order large and then like extra large. It's so extra large, it's so huge. Like the normal size is already not the normal size we have in Taiwan. It's already bigger than that. And then like the large size is just bigger. It's so crazy. Like you could just make it more and more and more. Like, and there are actually people who order those. Like I've seen people eat like a full meal. It's so crazy. I don't even know how they do it.
Yeah, everything in America is like so huge and
right.
Like their appliances.
Oh, yes.
Like very squared out, just like a big box.
And their bathrooms are so big.
Oh, yeah, totally. when I went to America, I found out that I think their toilets are larger.
Yeah, they are. It's I don't know why, but it's a lot larger. And something I found really strange about American bathrooms or the stalls. I don't know if the boys' bathroom has that, but like the stalls, the door, when you close the door, you could basically just see through the space between the door and the wall. And then you could like look inside to the person like using the bathroom.
Oh, I never really noticed that.
It's so strange. I don't know why they like leave that space so large. Like there's like no privacy. I don't know. I find it weird, but I guess like there was this explanation that made sense to me was because just to make sure that nobody do drugs in the bathroom, like so people could like see what you're doing inside.
Oh, that actually makes sense.
Yeah, like public bathroom, their spaces are so huge. And like the doors are really like short, like it's not tall, so you could basically see the next stall from the top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, that was a little off topic of like thinking big. But anyways, to the next one. They have like this really they have this to-go concept. So
what?
It means that they take out food a lot. Like, you know, they don't sit down and have a meal. They would take it out and eat it somewhere else, like on the go. So it is because Americans are regularly on the move, so there's like not enough time to have a formal sit down meal. And they would like drink coffee on their way to work, eat pizza while walking down the street, you know. And there's actually this research that said 20% of all American meals are eaten in the car. So like they don't have time to eat sitting down.
Yeah, I think you can really see it in like movies and TV shows,
Mm-hmm.
how people are always eating in the car,
Yeah.
like in traffic.
Yeah. I don't get why they're like that. Like I feel like I have so much time to sit down and eat. Okay. Next one is going out to eat or ordering takeout. So because Americans love to dine out because they could like explore new cuisines and different food varieties. But like not all people do this. Some people like rarely eat out, but like this vary among different people. But it is not uncommon for Americans to eat out several times a week. And I can really see that. Like, yeah, in movies and stuff, they rarely like make food by themselves. And basically they eat out for lunch every day or take out. And this next one is sports. Americans love sports.
Yes, totally.
Yes, they are so passionate about like Super Bowl, baseball, basketball and stuff. Like super passionate about that. Yeah, and during the seasons, that's like the topic they talk about all the time. You know, the season of like NBA and stuff. And there's this website that says sports can be a huge uniting and dividing factor among Americans. So like you could clearly see who likes which team and like who supports which team and stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that, like go crazy about sports.
Yeah, and like American houses, like I sometimes watch like, you know, people selling houses on like YouTube or something. And they always have like this spot for people to, you know, hang out with friends and like have a TV and a couch for them to watch like these games and stuff. Like I always feel like these houses always have a place dedicated to watching games. Like, I don't know.
Oh, like in the basement?
Yeah, or something.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that before in house selling videos.
I like watching house selling videos.
I think I watched them too.
Okay. Next one. Competition. Americans are very competitive and very ambitious about the things that they like. So they're also very proactive. And if they want to accomplish something, they go for it. And they don't like tend to sit back and wait for others. Like they would just go for whatever they want. And yeah, very competitive people. I feel like I can fit in this part very well.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like I can be competitive about a few things that I care a lot about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, this next one, you're going to have some opinions about it, but it is political correctness.
Mm-hmm.
So, the US is a very diverse place. So there's a general practice of always, respecting other cultures and their differences, especially when communicating and expressing your ideas. And I think like this is super important because you don't want to
offend anyone.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. And, there's an underlying rule, which is to not use words or expressions that could be interpreted as offensive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, totally.
Yeah, I think that is super right. Like, every place should have that. But we don't do this in Taiwan, right? Because our culture is so homogeneous that there's really nothing offensive to say.
Yeah, and everybody around us is just like in the same culture. So like we talked about in the first episode, like we're not really familiar with this kind of cultural practices, I guess.
Like we basically just say whatever's on our mind because we know that we're not going to offend anyone. But I guess in America, because it is so diverse, people have a lot of different feelings about different things.
Yeah, and you need to like be politically correct and not use offensive dictions and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it shouldn't be limited to America.
True.
Like every place in the world should be politically correct. And like everyone in the world should try not to offend others.
Yeah, I think that's very true. But like when... Like my mom, I don't want to like say like it's a bad thing, but like she's not really used to this politically correctly saying things because she's like grew up in Taiwan and she's lived in Taiwan her whole life. So basically she doesn't get this concept. And I totally understand that because, you know, it's not a problem in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. It is that Americans like to have small talks. So I find this kind of interesting. So this means that you make conversation with strangers about just like the weather, sports, or like popular television shows. It's so strange. Like basically you just, when you're at a bus stop and there's a person beside you and then you would start talking like, hey, did you watch the NBA last night or something like that? And then you guys would just start talking and like you could have a conversation for like 5 minutes and then you just get on the bus and leave and never see that person again.
That is so weird.
Yeah, I find this so strange.
Like I can't really get the concept.
Yeah, me neither. Like we don't even say hi to strangers on the streets.
Yeah, like
right.
I feel like some people in America, they'll just walk down the street and say like, hey, how you doing and stuff.
Yeah. I find this very interesting, but somehow uncomfortable about it. Like, I don't want strangers to talk to me. I don't know.
I mean, if they're friendly, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, true.
Anyways, I feel like it's something that is uniquely to America, or at least not in Taiwan. Or at least any like East Asian culture like we talked about last time. Like in our culture, like we are kind of more shy, I think.
Yeah, more conserved and like to ourselves. Like we wouldn't just, you know, speak to any stranger.
Yeah.
So like these small talks are like supposed to be harmless. So basically anything they say that makes you uncomfortable, you could just forget about it because you're not going to see this person again.
Okay.
Another one is independence. The idea of like being self-sufficient is very like valued highly in US. So like a lot of American children, like their parents would just, you know, drop them off at a summer camp or, you know, like just put them somewhere or like let them travel abroad by themselves for like another camp or something. Like this would really teach the children how to be independent. Yeah, which we do not do that here at all.
At all.
Like, yeah, I've only been to one summer camp. There's like this special thing that I find sort of strange is that parents would just, you know, ask their children to move out by the age of like 18 or something.
I think it has something to do with like the whole individualism and collectivism idea. Like in East Asian culture, people value family a lot. People value the whole society or like the collective well-being a lot. And maybe like in America, they just kind of think that it's your own business. Like you should take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But in East Asian culture, families take care of each other and like we help each other out. And
Oh, right. Yeah.
sometimes we feel like that person's business is everybody's responsibility, like the whole family's responsibility. Or say the school, right?
Mm-hmm.
They think our behavior is their responsibility because we are in the same group and they value this collective idea.
That is true. Wow. Okay. Yeah, like financial problems. Oh, like when you grow up, your parents would say, oh, if your sister has any financial problems, you should help her out, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't have any sisters, but I get the idea.
Yeah. Something like that. And like, you guys should take care of each other when you grow up and, and stuff like that. And they wouldn't like ask us to leave and live outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like by 18. Okay, so this next one is diversity, which is very obvious. So like the US is often called a melting pot, and I totally understand that. It's like a mixture of a lot of background, cultures, different beliefs, values, and traditions. And you cannot like define a typical American. Like there's no typical American. Like everyone's unique. They all have their different backgrounds and stuff.
And that is kind of why we start this whole series.
Right.
And I feel like this is more limited to America, right?
Yeah.
Like this diversity. I mean, of course, in other countries, they have people from all over the place, but I feel like this is especially true to America.
Mm-hmm.
And it has definitely shaped their cultures, like the two cultures we talked about last time, the European American culture and African American culture. Like,
right.
I feel like these two cultures nowadays, like they are heavily influenced by this melting pot thing.
Mm-hmm. And like these cultures are like sort of mixed up together, and you can't really say that one person belongs to one culture. I don't think you could define it as that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's this last one. Americans are good at speaking up because they value the individual. So like in general, like in workplace, they're known to like speak up and they go after whatever they want, you know, and like tell their superiors that they think something is wrong, or they would tell them their ideas and stuff.
And I feel like this really has to do with individualism and collectivism, like comparison again.
Yeah. Like, I guess Taiwanese don't do that. Well, I'm actually not sure if Taiwanese do that in workplaces, but like, I think in class, people don't generally speak up because, you know, they don't want to like stand out in front of everyone.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like, I'm scared to speak up in class sometimes just because I don't want to be, you know, like so obvious.
And I feel like sometimes people, like before people speak up, they kind of think about what others will be affected.
Oh, yes. I would think like, what would others think of my question? Or like, what would the teacher say and stuff?
Yeah, and I do think that is part of being in a collectivist society.
Yeah, we don't want to like affect others in a bad way.
Yeah, and it's like generally we would take care of others in our group.
And these are like basically the points that could sum up the US culture. I mean, there are a lot of other like characteristics of this culture, but yeah, these are the 10 points that I got. Okay, so next week, we're going to talk specifically more into the African American culture and the European American culture. So like the music and the arts.
And we will talk about how these culture interacts with their people.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember to like, subscribe, and share our channel.
Also, comment down below if you have any thoughts. You could click on the bell to get notified when we upload a new video as well.
Thank you and bye.